Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Jessica, the minister at Kitsap Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and this morning we are once again on Zoom webinar. Just a reminder, and for those who are new, this is a little different than Zoom meeting, because in webinar you can see the worship leaders, who are myself and Beth Wilson today, but you can't see one another and we can't see you. And that's okay. For the next hour, that's the way it's supposed to be. So you'll get the opportunity to see one another's faces after the service at the coffee hour. And I'm going to put that link and the password in the chat. So feel free to interact on the chat. Make sure, if you want everyone to see it, that you are sending it to panelists and attendees, not just the panelists. Beth and I will be monitoring the chat, and I invite you all to follow along with the order of service. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Actually, let me put that in again. Okay. And if you are phoning in today, welcome. If you would like to attend the coffee hour after the service, the number to call in is the same number that you used to access this webinar. And I will give that to you again at the end of the service. So if you are here by phone and you can't access the chat, we are so glad you're here. We are with you, and we are glad you are with us. So please settle in as we begin with our musical call to worship, which is We Laugh, We Cry, performed by our musical accompanist Brian Kenny and starring members of KUUF.
Good morning. Welcome to the Kitsap Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whoever you are and wherever you have come from, or whatever your comfort is with modern technology, for this hour we are here, one gathered congregation, and all are welcome. My name is Beth Wilson, and I serve on the worship committee. Our worship leader this morning is our minister, Reverend Jessica Starr Rockers. I'd like to welcome any visitors. Please introduce yourself in our chat section. We welcome more interaction with all during our after-service coffee hour. We hope that you can stay for that. Actually, you have to transfer to a different Zoom meeting, but we hope you do that. The announcements are on our webpage at www.kuuf.org or our weekly email newsletter, The Candle. And now you are all invited to light a personal chalice or candle in your home as we read these chalice lighting words together. We light this chalice on the shorelines of life, gathered as one at thresholds unknown, surrendering to the mystery and blessing that surely awaits as we dispel fear and call forth love, light, and peace, crossing over the threshold together as one. Please join in our singing of our opening hymn, Come Sing a Song with Me. The words will appear on the screen video. Please join me in the spoken affirmation. The words will appear on the screen. We gather as a caring community, seeking life's deeper meanings. We value diversity and affirm the worth of all living things. We strive to speak truth in love, to act for justice, to grow in spirit, and to care for the earth. We celebrate with open hearts and minds the creative power that sustains and transforms us. And now it is time for our morning offering. Please click on the PayPal link in the chat section. You may email admin@kuuf.org to let us know if your donation is for the KUUF General Fund, the Minister's Discretionary Fund to help our members in need, or our monthly charitable giving recipient, the Lord's Neighborhood Diner, whose services are on hold until there are enough volunteers to resume the program. The board of the Lord's Neighborhood Diner has decided to support the hungry by passing its donations to the Salvation Army and the Kitsap Rescue Mission, so those organizations can meet the need in our community. The Lord's Neighborhood Diner plans to reopen as soon as possible. You may also send a check to the address on the screen. If this is your first time at KUUF, please let the basket pass by not contributing, as you are our guest. Let there be an offering to strengthen and sustain our community, which is sacred to so many of us.
This is usually the time in the service where we invite the children forward to sit in the front of the sanctuary. So for the next few minutes, I invite all of the children, the young and the young at heart, to maybe sit a little bit closer. And today, we are going to practice meditation. Probably some of you have meditated before, but for those of you who haven't ever meditated, let me tell you, this is a great way to calm ourselves if we are feeling upset or worried, or even if we're feeling happy or joyful. It's just nice to take a moment sometimes to calm ourselves and just sit quietly. It's good for our mind and our body, and it often makes our spirits and our hearts feel lighter as well. So this meditation that I have for you, you can practice this anywhere. You need 4 pebbles, and you can get 4 pebbles from your yard, or if you go down to the beach, you can get 4 pebbles there. And I have 4 here that I have on the altar. And each one of these 4 pebbles represents an element or an image from nature. So I have one that represents flower, and I have one that represents mountain, and then I have one that represents water, and then I have one that represents space. And so when we start our meditation, we put both feet on the floor if we can do that. We settle into our bodies and try to be a little bit grounded. That's what putting our feet on the floor does. It grounds us into the earth. So whatever you can do to sort of ground yourself a little bit, and then you can sit up straight if you can do that. And then we take a deep breath in. Sometimes it helps when we breathe in to put our hands on our hearts or on our bellies. And then we hold our pebbles. You can imagine. If you don't have pebbles with you, you can just imagine. And we take each one at a time. And we start with the flower pebble. And the flower pebble, we imagine a flower. And each of us is a flower, unique and beautiful. During our flower ceremony, when we meet in the sanctuary, that's what that flower ceremony is about. Each of us is unique and beautiful. So with this pebble, we celebrate our uniqueness. And then we can say, breathing in, I see myself as a flower. And then we take our mountain pebble. So we imagine a mountain. This mountain is inside of us. And this mountain is solid and calm. And being solid means that the people that we love can count on us. So we imagine being solid as a mountain. So we say, breathing in, I am solid as a mountain. Then we take our water pebble. The water pebble is calm water, like the surface of a lake when it is very still. When we are not calm, it is easy to get overwhelmed and confused. And so this pebble helps us to feel peaceful. And so we hold this pebble and we say, breathing in, I am like calm water. And then our last pebble is the pebble for space. So this is space inside of ourselves so that our thoughts and feelings have room to be and to move around. And it's also the space outside of ourselves so our bodies have room and freedom to move as well. And so we hold this pebble, all of that space, as sacred. And we say, breathing in, I feel space inside of my body and outside. And once you've gone through your 4 pebbles, you can just sit and breathe quietly for a minute. Now, the cool thing about this meditation is that if you don't have pebbles, you can do this meditation by imagining, or you can do this meditation by drawing. Sometimes it helps some of us to move while we're meditating. So you can draw a picture of a flower and do the same meditation while you're drawing it, or a mountain, or water, or space. I don't know, you can think about how you might draw space as the sky, or a bird flying through the sky, or even outer space. You could draw outer space to represent space. So I hope that you will try this meditation this week again, and if you do, send me an email and let me know how it goes. I'm going to put my pebbles back on my altar. And then we're going to sing our song that we sing every week, This Little Light of Mine. And my backup singers are going to come with me and sing this again. Okay. You ready? Okay. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Did it? Oh, we're still there. Sorry, technical difficulties. We're still here. Okay, let's keep going. When I have technical difficulties, when I have technical difficulties, I'm gonna let it shine. When I have technical difficulties, I'm gonna let it shine. When I have technical difficulties, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around my home. All around my home. I'm gonna let it shine. All around my home. I'm gonna let it shine. All around my home. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This is the light of mine. One more time. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, that was lovely. I could feel you all singing along, even through the technical difficulties. Excuse me. Yeah. Thank you both for singing with me. Okay, so now is the time for our joys and our sorrows. And this is a good chance for me to check in with you all to make sure you're still with me in the chat. My computer went down for a minute and I didn't know what happened. So it looks like we're all still together, which I'm really grateful for. Oh, good. Thank you, Joey. So though we are physically distanced from one another, our hearts and our spirits remain connected. When shared together, our joys are amplified and our sorrows lessened. If you have a particular joy or a sorrow to share, I invite you to put it in the chat this morning. And I will tell you, my joy is that when my computer seemingly shut down in the middle of my song, that it didn't shut down and that you're all still here and we're all still together. So that's my joy today. Happy birthday to Ed Woods. Oh, I think we have to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ed. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ed.
Birthday.
Okay, joy for the continued warmth of community from Bonner. Joy that I learned how to put in my own ponytail and pigtails from Amelia. Oh, sorrow, Jennifer Ingalls, deep sorrow that I learned of a nurse colleague who died from COVID-19 on Thursday. Jennifer, our hearts are with you today. Bunny says, I have so much joy this week that our little baby Rowan is babbling. How wonderful. But sorrow that we can't share our sweet baby in person with our dear friends and family. We share that sorrow with you as well. Lisa says, my joy is that my wonderful mother, Mavis Johnson, turned 89 years old yesterday. Happy birthday, Mavis. She is healthy and doing well at home, and they got to have a Zoom party yesterday, so that's wonderful. The Emmets completed a New Year's resolution. Wonderful, amazing. Maya, joy that I am keeping busy making maps. I love it. I love it. And Marilyn Dragson, oh, I'm so glad you're here, Marilyn. Love to all who arranged this wonder for us. Yeah, that is the worship team. Brian and Mike and Elena do so much work. It's a wonderful team of folks who put these worship services together. Maya, sorrow about how much I miss my friend. We are all with you in that, Maya. Joey, my joy is that we are all still connected in such a hard time. Yeah, that's my joy too, and we all share that joy with you, Joey. So thank you, everyone, for sharing. May you who shared this morning feel the love of this community surrounding you and holding you close. For all of those who don't have access to the chat this morning or whose joy or sorrow is too tender to share, our hearts are with you. May the spirit of life and love bring peace to us all. Amen, and blessed be.
When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I'm so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment and never hurry through the world but walk slowly and bow. And around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, stay a while. The light flows from their branches and they call again. It's simple, they say. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know
So the song we just heard, performed by Mike and Brian so beautifully, is called Woiaya, one of my favorite UU hymns. Woiaya was written by Ghanaian drummer Sol Amarifio. It was frequently heard in work camps throughout West Africa in the 1970s and 1980s. Like many other African scat syllables, Woiaya can have many meanings, but according to the song's composer, it means we are going. We are going. Well, we aren't going anywhere physically right now, actually, but we are on a journey. If you saw our fellowship newsletter this week, maybe you saw the image I used for this service. It is from the movie The Wizard of Oz, and the main characters, it's from the part where the main characters have been welcomed into the Emerald City. The Wicked Witch flies in on her broomstick and writes in the sky in black smoke, "Surrender, Dorothy." The idea, of course, terrifies Dorothy and her friends. She isn't going to surrender. Surrendering to the Wicked Witch means giving up, giving in. And Dorothy is going to fight until the end. And Dorothy doesn't surrender. She visits the Wizard of Oz and she battles the Wicked Witch and she wins. But she quickly finds out that the wizard isn't exactly who he says he is. And the things her friends were searching for, they already had. And then Glinda the Good Witch comes and says, in fact, even Dorothy had the power all along. She just needed to click her heels together and go. The entire time, it was just that simple. Kind of makes you wonder how good of a witch Glinda is, really, and why she didn't just tell Dorothy in the first place. But you know who did tell her? The Wicked Witch. Surrender, Dorothy, surrender. You already have the power. When Dorothy asks Glinda why she didn't tell her this at the very beginning, Glinda says, "You wouldn't have believed me. You had to find out for yourself." So the journey for Dorothy isn't about where she is, the disorienting technicolor world of Oz or the familiar sepia-toned Kansas farmland. The journey is about Dorothy, her internal experience of herself and her surroundings, and the trust she is willing to put in her own ability to survive. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going. But like Dorothy, a lot of the journey is internal. If you're like me in quarantine, one of the biggest challenges is distraction. It's so easy to get distracted by the people and animals I live with, by the chores I need to do and the messes I need to clean up, by my phone, by emails and texts, and by the news. I often distract myself with Google searches, trying to find the latest information on COVID-19. What's it doing in the world? What's it doing in the country? What's it doing in my county? Adding it all up over and over again to discern the answer to my questions. Where are we going? When will we get there? And when we get there, what will there be like? I'm trying to grasp the ungraspable, struggling to understand and get answers to something for which there are no answers. Buddhists would say that I am avoiding the truth of reality, the truth of impermanence. And the moment I accept this truth, the moment I surrender to it, I will find peace. So there is a story about the Tibetan Buddhist saint Milarepa, who lived in a cave in the mountains of Tibet in the 11th century. And one day he goes out to gather firewood, and when he returns, his cave is filled with demons. And so first he tries to fight them, but they only grow stronger. Then he tries the intellectual route and tells them how, logically, they don't exist. But still, the demons won't leave his cave. Finally, he surrenders. And he says, I don't know what you have to teach me, but whatever it is, I will listen. With this, all but one of the demons leaves the cave. But the fiercest and scariest demon remains. So Milarepa walks over to that demon, puts his head in his mouth, and says, you may eat me if you wish. And with that, the demon disappears. Every day in quarantine, we have a choice to be like Dorothy, to fight our way to the end of this journey, or to be like Milarepa in the cave and surrender. Make peace with our fears, make peace with not knowing, and accept this moment for whatever it is and whatever it brings. Now, Milarepa was a saint, known as the first Tibetan to achieve Buddhahood in one lifetime. And even he didn't surrender right away. Even he didn't surrender right away. When he saw his demons, he put up a fight. And he tried everything, fighting, reasoning, listening. Even he would have been like Dorothy and seen the wicked witches skywriting and said, nope, not today. Even he had to struggle until he was ready to face reality and surrender. And I suspect this wasn't the first time he'd met those demons, or even the first time he had surrendered to them. Since we are not Tibetan saints, we might start small. Some of us might start with 1 minute each day of entertaining the idea of acceptance, of considering what surrendering might mean for us in our life. Some of us might try 2 minutes or 10 or longer. The trick is to do it every day. And here's the best part. We don't have to just surrender to demons. Every day, when we encounter joy or gratitude or love, we can stop and surrender to those too. In fact, before we surrender to demons, let's just start with surrendering to love. Let's just start with surrendering to joy. That way, when we face the demons, we'll know what's real and what isn't, what matters and what doesn't. We'll know how to let go. Thankfully, we don't have to be perfect. We only have to be willing to let go for a moment, to let go of our plans and expectations, to let go of what we thought was going to happen in May or June or July, and instead simply be willing to meet it, whatever it is, and be willing to trust that we have a community of folks alongside us, that we won't be meeting it alone. We are on this journey together. Heaven knows where we are going. But let us be willing to surrender to all of it, the joy and the heartbreak, the whole story, as one shared, beloved community.
I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. In my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world would seem so strange. It is the honors, those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though they burn our eyes. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mind, Lord, to hold my confusion, and give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder, and give me an ocean to hold my tears. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of
So I invite you to take a moment now to set an intention and choose your word for the week ahead. One word. And if you feel called to put it in the chat, I will read them aloud. My word for this week is surrender, acceptance. Bonner's steadfastness, gladness. Maya says hope. I like that one, Maya. Surrender. Amelia says grace. Thank you, Amelia. Support. Love, meditation, acceptance. Chris says stepping forward. Pause. And thank you, everybody, for sharing your intentions, those that you put in the chat and those that you are holding in your heart. Oh, patience. Thank you, Ed. So let's move now into our closing hymn, which is I Know I Can.
The day sister,
my sister,
my sister
she's in my heart. Oh, my brother right here in my soul. Although troubles may wait there at every turn,
Still I know,
still I know,
yes I know I
can go on. Although the journey is long, so long I see.
Still I see that destination
Yes, it's
clear.
Those troubles may wait me at every turn,
But I know, yes I know I can go on.
So brother,
Brothers,
take
take my hand.
Oh,
Sisters, help me sing my song. For I know hope awaits me at every turn. And I know, yes I know we will go on.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and being here with us. Let us extinguish our chalices together. Please join us after this for the coffee hour. The link and the password will appear on the screen. I'm going to put it in the chat again. And for those of you who are calling on the phone, the number to call in is the same number that you used to access this webinar every week. So have a wonderful week ahead. May you find a moment each day to surrender, to heartbreak, to joy in equal measure. Amen and blessed be.